Hi folks, we're back in the Clarke Technical Studies book again today. This is the second study. And as I advised in the first etude, a lot of times if I'm not comfortable with my sound production in the low register at first, when I'm warming up, I'm going to start in wherever it's easier. So I might start on the low C, I might start on the G, I might start on the F. In other words, somewhere in the middle, somewhere where your body doesn't react badly and you don't end up struggling. Because what we're trying to cultivate with all these exercises is a sense of effortlessness that allows us to get past the physical mechanics of playing the instrument and to say something musical when we do it. Now, what's different about this study? I think Mr. Clarke was kind of a genius. And he was very patient and very persistent in his work, and as a result achieved a tremendous amount of skill on the instrument. I don't know if you've heard any of the old recordings, but his technique was rather stunning. And that's because he worked at it very hard. So you started out in this first study with a chromatic scale, so all the notes are a half step apart. So in essence, what you're getting is a smooth, just up and down smoothly as possible, while the fingers are operating and you're playing chromatic notes, individual notes on the scale. Here in the second study, you have a scalar motion. So you have whole steps and half steps, and then you have a descending interval that's usually a third of some kind, right? So that descending interval is the tricky part in this one. So I'm going to play, I think I'll play on the F. That's oftentimes where I'll start. I mentioned in the last episode that there are kind of different personalities with the different systems of your body. Your tonguing as it works to focus the air, the tongue as it works to articulate. We'll talk about that in a moment. The fingers, the breath, the embouchure. These systems all feel different. They have different personalities, is the way I think about it. So when you're doing what I just did, there's a very, for me anyway, there's a very strong I'm not thinking, I'm not dropping. I'm always flying, so everything is horizontal. Flying this way, going ahead. It's always moving ahead. So when I play to the upper note, I'm being very intentional, physically and musically. I'm going down to the notes. Well, most people, when they go up on the trumpet, they get a little bit tighter, they try a little bit harder. The vibration doesn't come quite as easily, at least some of the time. And when you get tighter as you go up, then you kind of have to unravel yourself to get looser again in order to play in a low register. And that happens even here in these simple intervals going down. This is one of the biggest problems for trumpet players until you figure it out. And what you're figuring out is do the sing, buzz, play thing. Do it with your voice and listen. I went, I notched my voice. You see how that's one continuous tone? I'm pretty sure that this is how Clarke worked with his students on this. It was all about continuous tone. Remember, these are long tone exercise substitutes. So the main goal is to sustain the tone continuously, no breaks between the notes. Now, when we articulate, we have space between the notes, but the underlying shape, the underlying energy, the underlying pattern of movement in the breath and the embouchure and everything is exactly the same whether we're slurring or tonguing. It's just sometimes the air is moving and sometimes it's not. It's pretty simple. But for some reason, that's very difficult to do. So again, I recommend the voice and the mouthpiece as something you can do to practice this. I oftentimes, especially if I'm feeling a little bit tight, I'll sing it quite loudly. I'm not going to do that today, but you understand what I'm talking about. And then I buzz it. There's some stuff we'll do later when we're working on metronomes practice. But if you put a metronome on that and you want it to change the note, one note to the next, with tremendous precision and accuracy, going do. You see how I'm doing this kind of notching thing? It's actually not that. You're flying between the notes. You're just accurately. It's like you're in a super, F-22 aircraft or something like that, and you're going. You can you're so agile. You can change speed so easily. It doesn't. What you feel is you're always going forward. So it feels like one continuous blow. It's way simpler than it sounds. And so if it sounds like you're notching all the notes, or feels like you're notching them, try and smooth it out. So that's kind of the starting point for all these exercises. Then I start to get a little bit fancy. Some people might wonder why he put accents on the beginnings of each group of four. And I'm only speculating. But my guess is so that you'll feel it in two. It's marked in cut time. So he says to put it on, what would it be, 60, yeah, is the slowest tempo. It says 60 to the half note. You get the idea. If you have it smooth when you're slow, then it's going to be smooth when you're fast, until it gets too fast, and then you'll start to get bumpy again. And that's a great way of kind of regulating whether you're trying to push the tempo too quickly, too soon. Okay, let's talk about something else. I have something I give to all my students that is a different kind of variations, you might say, on the Clarke. So I'm going to do the first one. First one is just changing dynamics. So you can use any pattern that you want, but for today, let's just say I'm going to play forte for 4/8 notes, and then I'm going to play pianissimo for 4/8 notes, and then forte again. When you do this, listen and make sure that you're changing instantaneously the dynamics. Subito, forte, subito, piano. When you do it, don't do a crescendo or decrescendo. It should be instantaneous. That's a great little exercise. Simple, but a really nice challenge to a basic skill of breath control. Now, if that's hard for you, what I recommend is put a fermata on the note before the dynamic change. And as you're on that note, I'll show you. As you're on that note, it gives you time to stabilize and feel in your body, am I ready to play piano? And you'll be able to feel it. You'll feel either awkward or like, I don't know, or confused, or you'll feel like, I got this. And regardless of how you feel, it gives you time to stabilize on the note so that your breath stream is very, very, very smooth and your embouchure is very, very stable. And then you make that change very, very quickly, instantaneously, as I said before. Put another fermata on the soft note. So you're going soft to loud or the other way around. Put a fermata on the note. Sustain the note. When I'm doing that, I'm always feeling that the note is spinning. I'm not holding the note. This is a psychological thing, but it's very important. I'm never holding da da dee da. It's always that fighter plane, or that, let's go with something more gentle. A seagull floating on the breeze and then swooping down when they, see something they want to eat. This is the feeling, and you can have that feeling too. You can have it just by watching birds. I got lots of birds in my yard, so I have a lot of fun watching them and learning from them, how they move. It's fascinating. Okay, so the next variation is a variation in articulation. And I'm just going to go up a half step, up to the number 38, I guess. Now, when I'm doing stuff like this, to me, it's about qualities, the quality of the sound, the quality of the sensation. Is it is it like this in my mouth, or da 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 da, light, snappy, quick, precise? So those I'm kind of homing in on those sensations and sounds. That's what everything is made out of for a musical artist. And I do this with T articulation, I do it with multiple articulation, I do it with K articulation as well. Now, you're starting to get an idea. What if I put those two variations together? Now it's more complicated. I just raised the bar a little bit. So that's how you practice. Make sure that you lay down a strong, secure foundation that gives you confidence. You say, I got this. This is fun. And then you're gonna enjoy really building something when you practice. Now my third variation is a change of range. So this is only good from number 39 forward because we're going to go down an octave. So here it is. Now that was a little jazzy, a little loose, a little sloppy. That's good. That's fine. Allow yourself to play sloppy sometimes. If you're trying to be too precise all the time, you'll never get loose. It doesn't mean you're going to live there for the rest of your life. It just means you're giving yourself freedom. Just swing at the ball without worrying about whether you can get a home run or even get a hit. Throw the ball without worrying about whether you're going to get a strike. Just get it, hit the catcher, or somewhere in that vicinity, hit the backstop. In other words, just enjoy the process of throwing. Or in our case, it's that shift. And here the same principle applies. So when I sustain the note, when I put the fermata on it, sustained it, I can instantly feel that my breath was a little tight. I was holding back the air a little bit, and therefore I wasn't going to be able to play that lower note well. So as I sustain the upper note, I just let go of the things that were trying to come in and control the air, and let it flow more easily. And as soon as the air was flowing more easily, my body could feel like, oh, yeah, I got this. Now, this is a matter of experience. So if you're having trouble feeling these things, don't worry. Don't worry about it. Don't be dismayed, right? Don't be upset. Keep reaching out with the sensation. You don't know what you're looking for. You haven't experienced it yet. You don't know what you're trying to hear. You haven't experienced it yet. It's this discomfort that we all have with the unknown. We want control. We want to know what's what. We want to know right from wrong. We want to be able to make our own decisions about how we're going to do things. And that kind of stubborn streak, that very narrow way of thinking, keeps us from discovering things that are right in front of us every day. And so the same idea applies to your trumpet playing. So I gave you three variations. One is a dynamic variation, changing dynamics subito, suddenly. Another one is a variation in articulation, and you can do a multitude of things with that. Another one is a variation in range. Now, there's a fourth one, and please make up your own. I'll be really interested to see other ideas that people have. So when I'm playing number 39, for example, I might do it like this. Keep in mind, it's exactly the same as that slow, continuous sound if you were doing it at the lower tempo or doing it with your voice or doing it on the mouthpiece. And this helps you to develop this kind of agility. Then I'll turn it around. Now, what if you put those several variations into one exercise? It might be a little bit overwhelming, but not once you've built each one to be solid in your system. So you've got some work to do, I suspect. I know I do. I feel like I'm just starting to get warmed up today. So go and do your work and enjoy the process, and I'll see you later on. Have a great day. Bye-bye.